Hi guys, this video is all about tips for applying blush. I am a total blush junkie. I think it's just amazing what a little color on your cheeks can do. If you're wondering what blush color to pick, I think a really good rule of thumb is to keep your lip color and your blush color in the same color family. Now, that doesn't mean that the colors have to match exactly, but if you think about it like pinks with pinks, mauve colors with other mauve-ish tones, corals and bronzy colors, they don't match, but they share some of the same tones, so they work really well together. Just think about colors that are kind of in the same color category and you can't really go wrong. You know, if you're just starting out and maybe you're a little unsure, that can really help to use that as a guide. Another thing that's kind of nice to do if you're just starting out and you want to find a really natural blush color, you can always either pinch your cheeks or flip your head over for a couple seconds, and then when you sit back up, you'll see your own natural flesh color on your cheeks, and then you can match an actual blush to that color. I don't think you can really go wrong that way because it's your own kind of personalized blush color, so it's going to look the most natural on you. Normally I don't use the brushes that come with the actual blush compacts. A lot of times, well, they usually have to make them really flat, kind of like long and narrow like this, so they actually fit in the compacts, and I mean that's totally understandable, but what ends up happening is the color is really concentrated in such a small area, kind of harder to blend out. Sometimes it gets a little streaky, so if you are using these, just, you know, be aware that you might want to use a little less product or take some more time to blend it out. The brushes that I usually use, a lot of times I'll just reach for a Kabuki brush. They're really great because, you know, just like a brush that you would use for powder foundation, this one's from Smashbox. They're really nice. They're very, very similar to a normal, like, pointed domed blush brush like this. This one is from Coastal Scents. It's the IB106 Pointed Dome Brush. I love these. And you can see it's very similar shape and size to a Kabuki brush. So if you have one of these, you can just use that too. Another one is the IB106 Angle Brush. You'll see these used a lot for blush because they're really nice and precise. All I do to apply it, first of all, you want to find the perfect spot on your face to apply the color. A really good tip for that is actually to take your first two fingers, line it to the side of your nose, and on the other side is where you can start to apply your color. That's going to make sure that it doesn't come in too close to your nose. I really like this area right here, on me anyways, to be kind of illuminated so it keeps that space nice and bright. The color I'm using, by the way, is Melba by MAC, and this is a gorgeous peachy color. I'll just kind of tap my brush to the color. Now, I don't know if this is going to pick up on camera, but I really like to keep the color kind of just a dot of it in the center of the brush, and then the bristles around the outside are bare. That way it's going to, those bristles are clean, so it's going to help blend out the edges of your color a lot better. Make sure you don't like sweep the brush into the pan and then sweep it onto your face. You're just going to get way too much product and you really don't need that much at all. So we're just lightly tapping it onto the center of the brush, and you want to find that place, your perfect kind of starting point on your face. And then just tap the color onto your cheeks, and then in short light strokes sweep it back towards the top of your ear, so like right here. And girls with light hair, you want to be careful because it's really easy to kind of stain the roots of your hair with a blush, especially if you're using a really bright pink. And you never really naturally flush there. So it's kind of one of those things that it automatically looks like you've applied way too much makeup, even if you haven't. The most important tip that I can give you above all else for applying blush is to blend it out after you've applied it. I used to think like how much of a difference could that really make? But it actually makes a world of difference, I think. I'll just take a blender brush like this one. You can really use any brush that has any kind of density to it. All you do is just brush backwards around the color. You can go through the center if you've applied too much blush to kind of lighten it up. And then you want to make sure you blend out the area closer to your nose, but you don't want to bring it inwards at all. Put your brush down and blend it back. So you're not making strokes this way, you're just kind of making short light strokes backwards. You can even spin your brush if you want to. I do that sometimes. So I think that's really the best way to make it look like the color is coming from beneath your skin and really, really radiant. And you want to make sure you clean your brushes pretty regularly too. So if you use the same blush color every day, it's really not that big of a deal. But if you're mixing colors together, you're going to find that maybe your skin will turn out a little bit muddy because all the colors are mixing together on the end of the brush. A few little like last minute tips. It's kind of some fun things you can do with your blush. You can take whatever color is left on your brush. And again, be careful around the hairline for those of you who have lighter hair. Apply whatever's left on your brush to the center of your forehead along your hairline. Like that, just a little bit. Looks gorgeous when you're using a pink. Gives you just a nice glow. A lot of people will touch it to their chin. I usually just save that area for bronzer. You can do that. Another cool thing you can do is take that same color that you've been using on your face, and you can use whatever brush you want, honestly. It's kind of like a no-fuss thing, so I'm just using one that I use for my face. Take a little bit of that color and sweep it onto your brow bone. You can apply that color either over top of the eyeshadows you already have on, which is what I usually do, or you can use a blush as a brow blending color in and of itself. And by using a color that you've used on your cheeks, on your brow bone, I think it just kind of ties together your entire look really well, and I really like to do that a lot. Take a little bit of the color on your finger, you just want a very little bit. You can dab it onto your earlobes. And that sounds kind of crazy, but if you think about it, especially if you're going to pull your hair up that day, I think it looks a lot nicer than having a pale ear sitting next to your flushed cheeks. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you try out some of these tricks at home, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.